Hi there lovely stitchers, hope you're all well. So today we're going to finish off, or start and finish, hopefully sewing our pages together just to neaten them up. Because we've got back to back stitching with the concertina book, I sort of did it so we could hide the stitches. I am going to put a cover on, but not quite just yet. So you can do this in any which way you prefer. You might want to put a bias edge on it. You might want to just leave it as is and stitch up that side, which would be nice. You can do any stitch you want, whatever. But I'm going to go with a blanket stitch, and I feel like if I start at this end, just let me move that out of the way because that's bothering me. If I start at this, I'm not going to do that because I'll do that when I attach the cover. If I start at this end and work my way along, maybe I'm only going to be able to do, oops, my letter fell out. 1, 2, and then 1, 2. Yeah, that'll. I'm just thinking about the finishing off and the starting of thread. So I'm going to use some of this SCHEEPJES candy floss, which I love, and we've just restocked it in the shop, the online shop. So I'm allowed to have some new colours. I'm staying with a little muted green colour, like a little sagey green, duck eggy. What is it? Sage green, duck egg blue. Don't know. They do have names, but there's so many I can't remember them. But this is number 402. If you're interested, they are beautiful to stitch with, I do have to say. So blanket stitch then. I'm obviously not going to make you sit and watch me do everything. That'd be hours and hours and hours. I think it was I was watching Marion over on Marion's World, and she's tried to do less editing as well, but the unfortunate thing is it takes so long, so you'd be 5 and 6 hours long on a video. I'm just starting. Don't look at my starting stitches, they are always a mess. So for a blanket stitch then, I'm going to go and make sure your threads wrap round the back of your needle, but I want it to sit along the top of that book page. Hope you can see. And I just felt like a neatening it up slightly. It would. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch all along this page and along that page. You know what, I might put a pin in just to keep it flat where I want it. I'll put it down that way. I was laughing earlier, I was having a bit of a tidy up, and not very good tidy up because I've got piles and piles of boxes of stuff that needs packaging. Well, it's for packaging and for the show. I know I keep banging on about the show. If you're watching this in the future, I'm going to do Harrogate Knitting and Stitching show for the very first time, and I have things absolutely everywhere. The house is just like a storage unit, but hey, I'm seriously thinking of hiring a storage unit. I'm getting that much stuff together, but once it's boxed up, it'll be fine. So yeah, what was I saying? I was having a bit of a tidy up, and I did have to giggle at my little box of, do you remember that box of stuff? You probably can't see it. That I said, oh, I'm going to keep this in a, I keep it in a box all for this project. And this project has grown like Topsy. The bits they're all emptying out the box. So I will start with good intentions, and I'm sure you guys out there are in the same boat as me. I can never stick to a plan. I admire those people that can stick with just one or two colours and one or two fabrics. It's I really do admire them. You know, when they do like a big project and they've only used one colour thread or one bit of fabric, one style of fabric. It's fascinating. But I can't. I do try. I'm going to have to move you because keep dropping out. I'm just trying to do it so you can see what I'm doing, but I think what I'll do is I'll go to the end of this first page and then I will fast forward. I'm just going to cut those bits off. They're getting all... I was looking back on this little book and I was showing it to some ladies at the workshop a couple of weeks ago that I did, the Seascape workshop, and I don't think you realise, or when we're doing these things, we don't understand our own sort of power of stitch, if you like. And when you see something in real life that somebody's been doing on a YouTube channel, it's completely different and usually quite mind-blowing. And from the flip side of things, I've been doing this, and I was showing it to the ladies that were on the workshop, and it made me feel quite humble that they were admiring my work and my stitches and talking about doing their own. And you know, it's sort of a humbling experience when you come together with people that have been watching your channel. I'm sure those people with hundreds of thousands of followers get that experience all the time, but obviously for me that's not something that happens. Right, I'm just going to try and make sure that that's together so I don't... You might not want to stitch your book up, by the way. Don't feel like it's... I'm just sort of giving this option. I'm going to apologise for my hands, because in my infinite wisdom, I thought, oh, I will buy some of that gradual tanning cream. Oh my gosh, now my hands are tanned really well. Because I completely forgot to wash my hands after. So, apologies there. I'm sure those people who've used it have been in the same boat. Oh dear. I'd love to know how people can be really perfect on the social medias. They must take a 1,000 takes. They must do. Let's get rid of you, because you're a big long raggedy thread. My fingers don't want to pull. I did a workshop yesterday for Moonlight Hair, and I had a lady that came has been on the workshop before, a couple of my workshops before, and I had 3 new ladies, which I love that I seem to be gathering new people. It's wonderful. Right, I'm coming to the end, and I'm going to finish off. And I'm sure you don't need to see me stitching this whole thing, even though somebody yesterday said to me, I love the rambling chat. It's all part of the, the charm. Oh dear. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know, I don't ever seem to run out of topics to talk about. I mean, there are things that I try to avoid at all costs, such as politics. We're gearing up for a general election next week, so we'll steer clear of that topic. Right, so when you finish off your blanket stitch, I've sort of gone all the way along the top here, and I've tried to keep the top of my stitch on the edge of my book. So I'm going to finish off, and all I'll do is I'll go down into this inside, and I'm going to sort of try and wiggle it and get, although I'm doing this blind, get a couple of like little of the fibres so you can't see it, and then just come back through. Oh, why can't I put my... I hurt my thumb and I don't know how. Let me just... And I feel like it's hindering my sewing. Just pull that down. There we are. And I'll just try and pull that really tightly so it disappears into your fabric behind. So I'm going to go along, start with this one again and go along there, but I'm just thinking about this. I think I might just do a running, let me look, I'll think this through. Maybe just do a running stitch along the bottom. Don't know. Let me do this first, and then I'll see how fed up I am of blanket stitch. So I'm going to stitch this up, and then I'll come back when I've done all the top of these pages, and I'll come back, and if I change my mind on this, I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm just stitching along the back, the bottom, and I am doing a blanket stitch, but I was just thinking I don't want to catch down all this frayed edge that I've so lovingly kind of sourced, and so I'm folding it back and I'm stitching. Oh, where's my needle gone? And I'm stitching underneath it. I did think, oh, I don't want to sort of flatten the texture down, so I just thought I would come on and sort of say, yes, don't forget that that's something you might want to think about when you're stitching your edges. And that's sometimes why a running stitch is probably just as good, because you can just go near to the edge and not have your frayed bits stitched down. Oh, I forgot to go underneath that. That's because I'm talking. I forgot to put my thread around the back. of there. I was wondering where Reggie had gone. He's very quiet. It's been too hot for him at the moment. It's a bit cooler today. But us British, we're never happy. It's too wet, we're moaning. If it's too hot, we're moaning. I do try not to moan about the sun being out, because it doesn't come out that often here in the UK. So try not to moan about that. But it is a little bit cooler today, which is nice. Hence why I'm doing it with some filming. Right, I'm just going to fasten that off in the, if I can get it down there. I'm just sort of hiding my thread inside. I'm not doing any knots or anything. Okay. Let's do the next page and I'll be back. Okay, so I have finished my pages, fixing them together. So each one's sort of got a nice blanket stitched edge. And I'm going to say mine aren't straight or perfectly uniform. I just think, you know, why they don't need to be. I mean, if that's your thing, please do that. It's not, but I'm all for a little bit of wonky. So that's my pages sewed together. So the next part will be popping a cover on, and I will try and keep them all in a nice kind of line, but again, it's a bit of a wonky book going on. So it's starting to look like a book. I might have got a bit of a crease in that, but I'm not worried. Okay, so if you've enjoyed, as ever, if you've enjoyed the video, please give me the thumbs up. If you're new, you'd like to subscribe, please do that. And also, if you hit the little bell button, you'll get notifications of when I post a new video. So happy stitching, everyone. Have a lovely day.